What is going on, everybody? This is the Big Rat Racing official first YouTube deal. So we've got a couple things to go over to get this thing started. Everything started back when my grandfather owned a dirt track in Verona, and he called it Magnolia Motor Speedway. And it all started with that, running late models, super late models, and things like that. And so racing's been in the family for a long, long time. My father raced karts, and he started out on asphalt. Throughout the years, he would quit, start back up again, quit again, start back up, but he always had a thing for asphalt. We ran dirt back when I was younger, and did a whole lot of things back when I was about 8, 9, 10 years old, somewhere along in there. So we're in the race trailer here, and that 31 is his limited modified 1987, I believe, Emic. I tested it out at Barnesville a few weeks ago, and the kart did absolutely amazing. To do some of his last laps at different tracks is one of my goals for this year, because he passed away in November. It's one of those deals that we wasn't really expecting what was coming. He had colon cancer, and it took it about a month and a half to really do its toll, and he didn't last long. So my goal for this year is to run that kart as much as possible, whether it's got to be in a vintage race to do the Yamahas or things like that, is what I'm going to plan on doing. So Big Rat Racing is kind of combined with me and a buddy of mine, Michael Hogue. He runs a 22 Margay that you'll see, and hopefully whenever we get to race in one of these videos. So we see here, that's my K&K with the good old 21 on there. It's always been my number, and as far as I'm concerned, it'll always stay my number. And then we got his Margay super fast kart. We got his brothers down here, and if you saw in the trailer that he had a 17, that's his vintage kart that we ran over there at Barnesville. And this is his other kart, Burrell. He's super fast on a 2-cycle, but I think I'm gonna get him this year in the 206. And a couple of things that we've got over here in the shop is a project he's working on. That's an old shifter cart. A bunch of parts to move around on and everything. And eventually that one on the wall there is going to be mine. And we're going to run it on 100 Yamaha CCs and go in that class as well. So I'll have 3 karts that we'll be working on. So kind of new to this YouTube thing. Don't know really what to say, don't know really what to do. All I enjoyed when I watched these videos through, stall racing and Cletus McFarlane, is I could care less what they talk about. All I want to see is racing. That's through my blood. That's what I've been known for ever since I was just a young little kid, and I'm 28 now, so I'm still young, but age is catching up with all of us. It'll all get there someday. So eventually, what the plan is for this weekend is that we're going to go to Saltillo, race at Rebel Raceway for the 206 class, and give Dad his last laps at Saltillo, because that was our home track. Throughout the whole years with him, and going through all these race things, and Grandpa is always saying, "Oh, racing's gonna take all your money away." Well, yeah, it may. I know it did him. He did a number on those, throwing away a bunch of money throughout the years, but he had a fun time doing it. And that's the whole thing is, we're gonna have a fun time doing what we gotta do. Hopefully we don't get hurt, because we plan on pushing everything to the limit every time we do something. But that is our plan, is to race tomorrow. It's Friday now, so it'll be Saturday tomorrow. Hopefully we'll get a good race in, have a good night. But if not, if we don't race tomorrow, the track owner is saying that we'll race next weekend. So at least we'll get some kind of racing in just to get the itch off. We haven't had our first race yet. It's been kind of bad on weekends here in Mississippi. Been raining throughout the last weekend or last week of February, first week of March. It snowed real bad and it iced over, and it pretty much paralyzed Mississippi for not being able to work or anything else like that. Just sit at home, not doing much. So it's definitely different when it snows here than when it snows up north. We're not used to that at all. We don't know how to drive in it. We don't know how to prepare for it. If someone says it's going to snow an inch, this place freaks out. No milk, no eggs, no bread, no nothing. So, all that's over with. It's starting to get warm again. Track conditions are going to be amazing whenever we get to race. So, hopefully, we will get this thing in. A couple things about the kart. It is a 2020 or 2021 K&K Cobra. We sold the one that I raced last year. We sold to a friend of mine. And hopefully we can get his family up and going into racing, get all the good setups for him and things like that to make it worth his while. But he's a big dirt track racer. He's got a late model and things like that. So hopefully we can steer him in the right direction to come to asphalt. Now, I am a dirt racer at heart. Always loved it. Always will love it. Pretty much all of my friends have got something to do with racing. But here I am racing hand-me-downs from my daddy. This one was his. This one was going to be his up-and-going kart for the year. So he got all these special bells and whistles on it that I took over, and I actually did a practice run at Saltillo. I'm going to say about a month ago was when we tested her in, got it all ready to go, and you'll see that on the YouTube channel as well, that Joey Lanati was there. For those of you who don't know Joey Lanati, his family owned Lanati Cams in Memphis, Tennessee. He's a extremely good friend of mine. He was a great friend of Dad's. And when we went to the race in Barnesville for the vintage race, Dad wanted to run a 135 open without an axle clutch. And Joey runs with an axle clutch. And that's why, if you saw in that video why he was so far ahead of the pack, it's because axle clutches run so much better than on the motor clutches like these. So, Dad didn't get that chance. I hated it for him. And all of the help that I got at Barnesville, see, I went with my buddy Michael. He towed his vintage kart down there. And we did fairly well. He got third. But we definitely could have done better than what it was. Just not being completely prepared for it. And doing with what we had to work with, third place was great. So he raced this blue pretty kart. I believe it's a Comet kart. It was extremely fast for us. He's running the Yamaha. And I think he ran open pipe. So he ran in the piston ports instead of the, open pipe. So he ran in the piston port, which was pretty much run what you brung, stock appearing. That's fine. We'll take a third place over the ones that were much faster than us. So, with Dad's kart here, the beautiful old red 31 Emic, we run a limited modified. And And this limited modified, when I got to put it on the track, make his last couple laps at a good place, you know, we were fighting with gears and trying to figure out which one it was. And after I got done running, I figured out which one I needed to run, which is how it always goes. But the thing with that is, when I ran this limited modified in Dad's kart, like, I haven't adjusted it to me at all because him and I were pretty much the same size, but I like my seat set a little bit different than him. When I sat and I ran it, this thing handled amazing to be an 87 model. Absolutely amazing. I had all the power I could ask for. You know, with that limited modified, I switched it out when I decided to go practice. He had another limited modified on it that was from Enoch Sanders up there in Memphis. So when we got it up and going, darn door. So when we got it up and going, he actually ran it at Saltillo a couple times. One of his last races that he raced in, he come from the rear of the pack all the way up to third and was running down second and first place. I know most of y'all don't know my dad, but the thing about him was he could drive a go-kart, no matter what it was. When we got back racing, the first kart I ever had was a Razor made out of Atlanta, Georgia. And it wasn't the best kart. It wasn't the best handling kart, but it was my first one, and I wish I had never gotten rid of it because there's so much more that I know now that I could put to that kart that make it twice as fast. And my driving's gotten a whole lot better. Only being back in the sport last year was my full year to actually race, and since the pandemic hit, we didn't get to race but maybe 6 to 8 races. It wasn't very much at all. But the year before that, I ran 4. And if y'all would have seen my videos then, it was not good. Spinning out every lap, not getting a full deal on the track. It was fun. Don't get me wrong. It was extremely fun. But where I am now, I think it would be a whole lot better. So we went to Jackson and raced at Jackson. He hadn't been to that track in, 20, 22 years. And to do what he did at Jackson on a K&K kart, which we got it from a buddy of his that actually lived here in Mississippi, that actually lives in Arizona now. His name is Joel Phillips. To have Dad talk about him, which I wish he could explain everything. He was a mastermind at engines and carburetors, anything you could possibly think of. He was great at building something. So he ordered that, I think it was a 2016 single bend K&K Cobra, and it was bad fast. So we ran 12 laps that day, and you know, my dad was not in the best shape. He weighed 230 pounds at that point, but he outran the whole field by a straightaway. Pretty impressive for me. So if he could do that on an old 2016 model K&K Cobra, just imagine what he could do on this new stuff. It would be something to see. You know, in my eyes, and probably to a lot of other people, he was one of the best 4-cycle racers there ever was. And Joey Lanati was by far one of the best 2-cycle runners. So having one of those, and I wish, he could run and just show me more things. There's so much more that I wish I could have learned off of him, but I didn't have the chance to. But with my friend Michael, racing with him, he's going to coach me up on everything I need to know. We'll try different things. Sometimes it may hurt us, sometimes it may help us, but then we'll know. We'll know what to do from there on out. So hopefully, if the weather holds off, it's pretty right now, but it's supposed to rain tonight pretty heavily and throughout the day tomorrow. So hopefully it won't rain too bad. We'll get to race, but if not, it'll definitely be next weekend. So with that being said, I've got a bunch of great videos to come to. We don't have any GoPros yet. We plan on getting some, So a lot of it will just be videoing from outside of a spectator. You won't get to see in kart just yet, but you will. It's eventually going to come. Hopefully we can get enough subscribers and likes and comments and things like that to help us provide for this channel. Because none of it is going to go into my pocket. That's my goal, is to have, no matter how bad I hurt, no matter how bad financially it may come, which I know racing takes a lot out of it, the things that we will put it towards would be, you know, new karts, new tires, new wheels, new motors if we need them, new clutches, GoPros to see what we're doing, and things like that to make this a better channel and to put us up front. We do have plans to go to, you know, Newcastle sometimes. Michael's daughter's coming in. All right, y'all, so I'm driving home. I had to cut that video a little short, but we store all of my karts and everything that I have for racing at his house because he's got a whole lot more room than I do. But, you know, his daughter pulled up and didn't want to be the weird guy with the phone out recording me talking to it. It seemed kind of weird. And he had to go referee some ball games in Oxford tonight. So I figured I'd get out of their hair, and I've got to go to work in a little while. You know, I work night shift. But, so we were kind of getting back, you know, going back to the schedule. So hopefully we can, you know, go to Newcastle this year, you know, take trips, go back to Barnesville, race the limited modified, actually race it this time instead of just making practice laps, excuse me. And we can race 206 at Barnesville. So big things are coming with racing and me and mine, because I'm a true racer at heart. Even I have this old 02 Chevrolet Silverado with a V6, but I gas it everywhere I go just because I love speed. Anything going fast, I try to top it out as best I possibly can. And I know driving and videoing is not the same, so I'm gonna try to keep my eyes on the road as much as possible instead of staring at the phone. But the whole thing with that, you know, going back to the schedule, is when we go to Newcastle, we've got the Stahl family racing up there, and I'd really like to meet them. I've talked to Casey Stahl on Facebook, just trying to get an idea of what kind of gear setup they run there. And being at our track, the main gear setup that we run is a 15 front and a 60 rear. Well, this year we're going to try something a little bit different. With these 206 karts, you have no coming out of the turn power at all. If you kill your momentum, you're done. You've got to build your momentum back up, get going, and hopefully catch up back to the pack. If not even get close to them, to try and make a move, try and do something. So this year, I'm not going to tell you my gear setup. We'll just tell you it's completely different from what everybody else runs. I'll let that, if it works, I'll keep it a secret. If it doesn't work, I'll tell you what it was. You know, you don't try it. But the whole thing with this, you know, YouTube channel and everything else like that, is to not make money, because I could care less whether we have 1 subscriber or 50,000 subscribers and so on and so on. It's just I love to video my races. I like to watch and learn from them. And even when I watch somebody else's races, I learn what they're doing to maybe try at my location or different other locations to see if it works. If you watch other people's videos, then you're learning what to try and what not to try. Or something might spark you and say, hey, maybe that would be a good idea to try on our karts to perform better. Because 206 is meant to stay the same. They're sealed motors, so you can't get anything extra out of that motor. Anyway, as that truck passed by, because he was in the middle of the road. So the whole thing with trying new things, it may help you, it may hurt you. With my clutch situation, I'm running different springs to make the clutch engage sooner than what my partner is. I wouldn't say partner, that sounds kind of weird, but we'll just say racing buddy. So I'm part of their race club. You know, I don't have a sponsor. Excuse me. I don't have anything. It's all coming out of my pocket, pretty much. When Dad was alive, he had a mechanic shop. And with that mechanic shop, pretty much fueled our racing. He was my sponsor. He was his own sponsor. So pretty much anything that we wanted, we got, because we wanted the best of the best. That's how he ran. That's how he's always run. He said, if you can't afford the best part, don't buy anything else. That's always been my game plan for everything. Not alone in karts, but if I can't buy the best truck part to put on my truck to make it last longer or anything else, I'm not going to buy it. Same way with, you know, guns and ammo. If it's not the best, I'm not going to buy it, period. So he is trying out some different things, Michael. He is trying out, you know, a different rear axle. He's trying out different things to give us that extra advantage, because we're not bad anymore, or I'm not. I've been running with that one we sold to a buddy of mine. I was running, you know, mid front pack like normal, give or take of how good your day is. But he has always been up front, mid pack, and anything that we can do to improve, we're going to do. Or if we think that may improve it, we're going to do. So hopefully with this YouTube channel, we can think of everything. If y'all have any comments of what we need to try at a short, small track, which is what's here in Saltillo, and it's the one we mainly run. We don't really go to a lot of places, but we will plan on traveling to give us a little bit extra. Every time you go off somewhere, you learn something new to try at home. So if that makes you faster, that's what we're going to do. So we're going to try to go to new places. If we can't, we can't. That's just how it works sometimes, you know, because we're not dedicated completely to this YouTube channel. We do have our other jobs. You know, he works for Terminex and he referees ball games. So, the road's bumpy. So, with everything that we've got on our plate right now, you know, I work nights. I do tool and die, machinist, basically. And what that is you make things out of metal. That's the easiest and best way I can possibly describe it without describing it the right way and make a lot of people scratch their heads. So tool and die is basically a big metal stamp that makes parts for furniture, cars, and any other things like that, and we have to maintain everything. So with all of this stuff that's going on, and us starting out of this YouTube channel and just trying to give information to everybody else that wants to follow and see what I do on my weekends off or anything else like that, is kind of what I've been wanting to do ever since I've been seeing, you know, Hunt the Front, they're dirt track racers, Stall Racing, you know, they race up at Newcastle, and, you know, Cletus McFarland, you know, they run drag and drift cars, and anything to do with high power cars is what they do, which is pretty awesome. If you have a chance to go look at those, you know, Hunt the Front is a great thing to kind of base your YouTube channel off of. Stall Racing is more of what we do, which is asphalt go-kart racing. And Chase Holland Racing is another dirt track deal. And I haven't got to meet any of those guys yet. I've had the opportunity to, but at the same time got nervous. Not even gonna lie about that, because I hate being that awkward person trying to start up a conversation with somebody you don't know. But I will try and get better at things, and hopefully make this YouTube channel worth your while, because it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun for us at least, but to watch, you know, something that's not crazy expensive. It's still expensive, don't get me wrong. But I would love to see more people be into the karting deal, or just racing in general, because that's what I love to do. That's been me from day one. It's been go fast. And you can thank my dad for that. So out of all the speeding tickets that I've gotten and everything else like that, it's Dad's fault. He made me that way. So I live in Tupelo, Mississippi, or around that area. Most people, if I said my hometown, people would not even have a clue what it is. So Tupelo's close enough. We'll go from there. It's the home of Elvis. We race in Saltillo, which is about 10 minutes away from Tupelo. Sherman, where I live, is about 10 minutes away from Tupelo. And where I was at here recently with my buddy, he is about 20 miles from Tupelo. So it's all rather close. You know, being in Mississippi, you've got a lot of farmland and fields to go past and everything else like that, which makes it longer than what it is living in the city. So hopefully you guys will get something out of this. Love to see me race, and love to see my buddy race, and just racing in general. And hopefully y'all will subscribe and get this thing up and running. And hopefully we will do what we can. Sometimes work gets in the way, and that's always our first priority, is to provide for our families. But hopefully we will do what we can to make this YouTube worth our while. I appreciate it. Y'all can like, comment, subscribe like on every other YouTube channel. And hopefully we will get it to where we will make it big to provide for y'all. None of this is going to go to us. So hopefully we'll make it big to provide for this YouTube channel, get the best quality parts to put on our karts and make us go fast and get us up towards front. Thank y'all. Y'all make sure y'all have a great day.